Hello and welcome to the programme. I'm Jared Reid. Ukraine says that North Korean troops have been deployed to Russia's western Kursk region to back up Russian troops on the war's front line. That's according to Ukraine's military intelligence service. In a moment, we'll get the response from the White House in an interview with DW, but first this report.
This video, according to Ukraine, shows North Korean soldiers at a training ground in Russia's Far East. They're wearing what appears to be Russian military uniform, potentially preparing to fight in Ukraine. Kyiv says that first North Korean soldiers have already been deployed to Russia's western Kursk region to counter Ukraine's cross-border offensive. This comes as Russia ratifies a defense treaty with North Korea. The treaty pledges mutual assistance if either country is attacked.
As for our relations with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, as you know, our strategic partnership treaty was ratified only today. There's Article 4, and Russia never doubted that North Korea is serious about Russian cooperation. But what we will do and how we will do it, that is our business.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin has neither confirmed nor denied the presence of the North Korean soldiers in Russia. But he offered a vague comment on the satellite images allegedly showing North Korean personnel at Russian military facilities.
Images are a serious thing, and if they are images, then they reflect something.
According to the US, this reflects Russia's weakness on the battleground.
This really highlights Russia's desperation, tin cupping to the DPRK, to Iran, enticing DPRK soldiers, if they were to ever enter the fight. I think that shows that Putin has failed in his strategic objectives on the battlefield.
And this is something that Vladimir Putin strongly disagrees with. Putin says it's an illusion that Russia could be defeated on the battlefield.
DW's Washington correspondent Benjamin Alvarez-Gruber spoke with White House National Security spokesman John Kirby about these developments. He began by asking how the US would respond to North Korean troops joining Russia in its war in Ukraine.
Again, we're talking to our allies and partners about this very concerning development. I think we'll have more to say in coming days once we have a better sense of exactly what the North Koreans and the Russians are up to here. But look, make no mistake. This is a concerning development, the potential for North Korean soldiers to be used by Russia to fight Ukraine. Now, whether they'll do that in Russia, whether they'll do that in Ukraine, we don't know right now. The other thing it shows us is how desperate Mr. Putin is for manpower. I mean, he's losing 1,200 Russian soldiers per day. And over the course of this war, more than 530,000 casualties, Russian casualties. And it's not like he's being very honest with the Russian people about the losses that he has sustained in this fight. So it's a definite sign of Putin's weakness, no question about that. But again, we're going to talk to allies and partners, and we'll have more to say in coming days about what options may lay before us.
Are you afraid that this might turn into a proxy war? Because there are also reports that South Korea is considering sending more weapons, and as we see, North Korea and South Korea getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine war.
To the degree it's a proxy war, it's on Mr. Putin. I mean, he's the one that's reaching out to Iran for drones and ballistic missiles. He's reaching out to North Korea for artillery shells, ballistic missiles, and now soldiers. I mean, he's farming out the fighting to a foreign army. So to the degree this is somehow a proxy war, it's on Mr. Putin.
You're talking to partners. Have you spoken to Ukraine? Because there are reports that Ukraine has already said that their military units that have left the places in eastern Russia and have already crossed into the war zone?
Yes, of course we're talking to our Ukrainian counterparts, and we're trying to glean their perspectives, matching it up with our own intelligence assessments. But yes, we're in conversations with them, as I said, also in conversations with other allies and partners about what they're seeing as well.
Where does this number come from, at least 3,000 soldiers? Is it the US assessment or is it a Ukrainian assessment?
The 3,000 number that we put out yesterday is based on U.S. intelligence assessments as we were seeing things yesterday. Now, as I also said yesterday, we're going to watch this closely, and it's entirely possible that those numbers could change over time and could increase as well. But that was the number that our U.S. intelligence community assessed was the case yesterday.
We can speak now with Mikhail Alexeev. He is a professor at San Diego State University as well as an expert on Ukraine and Russia. Welcome to you, sir. Ukraine's intelligence agency says around 12,000 North Korean troops are already in Russia. Tell us, why does Russia need this additional manpower?
Hello, well, good to be with you. This is an obvious issue. Russia has been losing a considerable amount of manpower. If you look at the Ukrainian military reports, we see over 1,000 Russian soldiers reported killed on the front lines every single day. And Russia has been using that kind of manpower intensive assaults to make these incremental gains along about 1,000 kilometer front line in eastern Ukraine. So with the Kursk incursion by Ukrainian forces, the dilemma for Russia is whether to take troops away from the east and move them to the north. And so the North Korean troops can help Russia do that. Even if they don't go and fight there themselves, they can be probably positioned in some auxiliary role somewhere so that more Russian troops can join the Kursk operation without taking additional troops from the east.
And I'd just like to flesh that point a little bit out further. What do you think it says about Russia at this point in the conflict if it's having to rely on foreign forces and counter with the troop losses that you've just described?
Well, in political science, there's a straightforward explanation to it. Actors try to achieve their goals with the least possible cost and the maximum effect. And the cost in that regard is not just, say, money or equipment, but also the cost to the Russian society. So the less Putin would draw on mobilization and recruitment from within Russia, the more stable he believes his position in power is.
Do you think this latest escalation from Russia that is bringing North Korea into its war in Ukraine will force Ukraine's allies to rethink perhaps their own red lines?
Well, it's high time to rethink, and it's regardless of the red lines. It basically means that the whole approach of just helping Ukraine enough to contain Russia's invasion, more or less, is not without its own risks. So it means that the risk of conflict spreading and making other parts of the world less stable is rising and probably is exceeding even the risk of escalation that the Biden administration and Europe have been fearing. So it is time to authorize more long-range missiles used to provide Ukraine with longer-range weapons and authorize their use wider within Russia. That, I think, is the crux of the matter.
That was Mikhail Alexeev from San Diego State University. Thank you very much for your time today and your insights.
My pleasure.
Let's get more on this with Aidan Foster-Carter. He's a career expert at the University of Leeds in the UK. Welcome back to DW. If North Korean troops are already in Russia's border Kursk region, what are they likely to be used for?
I think, briefly, to try to take it back. I mean, all of us, ever since this was announced, it became a rumour and now it's clear they are there, have wondered what exactly, will they do? How do you do it? There could be integration issues with Russian forces. There could be language issues. I mean, back in the day, North Korea was a Soviet creation and everybody learnt Russian, but that stopped 30 years ago and more. So if you want to give them a single discrete task, take this, I imagine it would be, here's this bit of Russia, which Ukraine has seized. I think it was about 1,000 square kilometers down to about 700 now. Just take it back at whatever cost, take it back. I imagine that the North Korean units could do that or could be deployed to do that. Whether they succeed is another matter. Pretty much on their own, it would get rid of some of these command and control issues. So that seems to be where they are, and I very much fear we shall soon find out one way or the other in the next few days.
And are North Korean troops any good? Where will they have seen combat?
They haven't seen combat, but I think it would be extremely unwise to underestimate them. After all, this is a country which, although vastly impoverished in general terms because of choices by its leadership, it can launch space satellites, can launch intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach the United States, and has got nuclear weapons. I think that compared to all that, the task of training elite troops, and let's be very clear, these are not the sort of conscripts of a million-strong conscript army who may not have much training. These are the elite. These are special forces. These will be the best they've got. They'll be well-armed and highly motivated. Some of them may wonder what on earth they're doing there, but they'll keep such thoughts very much to themselves. So I think don't underestimate them at all.
I wanted to just pick up on that point. How does North Korea benefit from sending troops to die in Russia's war?
I mean, troops may well ask themselves that question, and their families, but the leader makes the decisions, and it's quite simple. It's money. Obviously, the terms are not disclosed, just as we don't know exactly what North Korea got in return for the estimated 6 million shells and various missiles of different kinds that it's already been providing to Putin for his war over the last year. But back of an envelope stuff, based on the rate that Russia pays to Nepalis, it may have been news to a number of people, some thousands of people from Nepal, many mercenaries are fighting. It's $2,000 a month. Now, at the same rate, if the North Koreans are sending 10 to 12,000 troops, that's actually a tidy sum, up to, if my maths is right, up to $300 million a year. Might sound peanuts compared with all the billions we talk about, but North Korea is a very attenuated economy with bad public finances. It always needs cash. This will be very helpful to Kim Jong-un.
And Russia's war with Ukraine, how well known is that in North Korea?
I don't think that it has been especially well known until now. I think they're trying to make up for lost time. Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, who has emerged as an ever more frequent and particularly sort of sarcastic spokesperson, recently described South Korea, whom obviously they loathe, and Ukraine as two bad dogs bred by the US. I mean, absolutely charming. But whether, North Koreans actually understand it or would necessarily accept the regime's viewpoint quietly, I rather doubt. I think the question, if the casualties mount, as they surely will, the bodies start to come home, the question of why dying in a faraway foreign field for what will surely be asked, although given the kind of place North Korea is, there's not a lot you can do about it.
Fascinating analysis, and we thank you for it. Aidan Foster-Carter from the University of Leeds. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.